Welcome to this class. Now, let us look at what is the advantage of having a strong brand. So, we are looking at organizations having strong brands. What is the type of advantage they derive having a strong brand? These are the types of advantages organizations derive by having a strong brand. If you are an organization coming out with a product from a strong brand, you get this improved performance of perceptions of product performance. Take for example the TVS. Any vehicle coming out from TVS which is quality certified, they put a small sticker there saying that OK, certified OK. It means a lot. It means the product has gone through almost all the stages of inspection and has been certified OK to be roadworthy. And the customer attaches a lot of importance to that type of product coming from a strong brand. If you are having a very strong brand, it is very likely that you can have greater loyalty in the marketplace. The same TVS, initially he may be a customer for TVS Champ, then he may become a customer for TVS X Super XL, then maybe TVS Astra, then maybe the Scooty, like that it goes on. So, many people would like to try all the products which are coming from TVS, whether it is with respect to the Scooty or whether it is with respect to the bikes. The result is they have a well satisfied customer base built up because of this greater loyalty. This well satisfied customer base always gives them a strength in the marketing environment. They become less vulnerable to competitive marketing actions. Even if the competitor were to ride roughshod, they can take that particular onslaught. So, you have a strong brand name in the market. This strong brand name in the market gets you good customer loyalty. This customer loyalty in turn makes you to get this become less vulnerable to competitive actions. The result of this competitive marketing actions becoming less vulnerable also makes the organization less vulnerable to crisis. So, if you are not a strong brand, any time due to this intense marketing pressure which is coming in, you may have to wind up shop. That type of a situation will not be there for strong brands usually. A strong brand commands a greater brand equity. The result is larger margins are possible. When larger margins are possible, you will get an inelastic consumer response. That is, whatever might be the turbulence in the market, your demand is not going to be greatly affected. You will also get a good trade cooperation not only from your channel members, but also from other industry bodies as well. So, the result of all this strong brand is that you have an increased marketing communications effectiveness. So, your communication with the market will be more effective and it will be more rewarding. It may get you possible licensing opportunities. So, it is, in other words, to build up a strong brand, you have to put in a lot of efforts initially. Once this brand name gets established, then you can reap the advantage of being a strong brand. In fact, when the TVS bus service was started in Madurai, many people used to set their watches when the bus used to come to 8 o'clock, because that bus had to come at 8 o'clock in the morning on that particular route. So, when the TVS bus used to come there, immediately they would set it at 8 o'clock. So, even if the watch earlier was set further beyond 8 or below 8, he would set it to 8. That type of customer response this brand enjoyed right from the early stages only. So, this you can see in many of the metro stations also. So, they give you this train to come at this period when, and the train comes exactly on dot at that particular time, that particular minute. So, in fact, if Bombay is surviving in spite of being so populated, it is because of the suburban train services. So, surviving and also thriving in the market, being the financial capital of the country. Okay. So, this is the advantage of being a strong brand, and all this is brought out here by this brand resonance pyramid. What is this brand resonance pyramid? In the center you have the pyramid, in the sides you have some explanations given. Okay. So, go to the left, if you see, the first one is, it gives you the identity, who are you. It also tells what is the meaning, that is, what are you. So, starting from this salience, you go towards performance and imagery. The second stage you are there. Then the third is response, that is, you have put up a product, what is the response? What about you? That is, the customer gives his judgments and about your product. Then the fourth one is the relationships, that is, the type of feedback he is giving. This we call it the resonance. So, what about you and me? This resonance has to come in. So, salience is, when you go up to the right side, the salience creates a deep broad brand awareness. When it comes to imagery, it gives a strong, favorable, unique brand association. When it comes to feelings, it gives a positive, accessible reactions. And when it comes to this level, you are going to get an intense active loyalty. So, a very nice method of projecting the brand effect is this brand resonance pyramid. So, you go from salience to performance to judgments to resonance, then imagery to feelings to resonance on the right side. So, on the left side you have performance, judgments, split. This middle portion of this pyramid is split into 4 compartments: performance, judgments, imagery and feelings. All this represented very nicely on the left and the right side by what is the type of this thing which it is going to create. So, creates gives you an identity, gives you a meaning, gives you a response, and gives you the relationship in the marketplace. So, identity is with respect to the customer, who are you and what are you, what about you and what about you and me. Now, when you do that, when you come to the right side, it gives a deep broad brand awareness, then comes to strong, favorable and unique brand associations, then positive and accessible reactions resulting in an intense active loyalty. So, what a wonderful method of presenting the brand strengths of the organization. So, all these many times are made possible by having good channels. So, as I mentioned earlier, the middlemen are the people who really contribute to the channel. So, if you are a merchant middleman, they buy, take title to and resell the product. Okay. So, this is a Voltas V-Line group of products which they do and which is considered a very strong merchant middleman in the Indian context. If you look at the agent middlemen, they also buy and resell the product, but they do not take title to your product. So, your product goes to the market by your own name. Suppose it is a product coming from the house of Kirloskars, let us say, it goes by the name of Kirloskars only, whether it is a motor or an alternator, whatever it is. The channel decisions which you take with respect to an organization, they exercise powerful influence on the rest of the marketing mix. So, what is required is clarity with respect to channel decisions. You must have absolute clarity when you take a particular channel. So, and you take him up as your distribution specialist, because he can influence the rest of the marketing mix with respect to pricing. Example, whether you are going in for mass distribution or high markup lead dealers. So, suppose you are going in for mass distribution, you may not go in for high markup. Suppose you are going in for high markup, then mass distribution you may not go in. So, this channel member whom you select, they have to give you a judicious direction, whether they go in for mass distribution or whether they go in for high markup. So, this then advertising becomes very important. These channel members are the one who should cooperate with the other areas in the organization to provide you that advertising effect. When you come to Salesforce, the question you have to address is sale direct to retailers or through manufacturers representatives. So, if the sale is direct to retailers, then the method of channel communication is different. If it is through manufacturers representatives, you adopt a different channel communication process. Kindly note that these channel members stay with you for a long time. It is not easy to dispense them. So, when you have these channel members, it is a long term commitments to other firms. So, these people will take care of all the distribution aspects, whether it is direct distribution through retailers or suppose you are doing the drug distribution through retailers, shift to chain stores is not easy. So, because the channel member will not allow you to do that easily. So, this is how selecting this channel member becomes very important. When you select him, he should fulfill some of the firm's objectives, if not all. Depending on that, you can go to, and the way your firm is operating, you can think of 0 level. When you say, no, I do not want a channel, I will go directly to the consumer. Or you can say, I will have a 1 level, where I say I am the manufacturer, I will go to the retailer, retailer will go to the consumer. Or it can be a 2 level, where you say the manufacturer, wholesaler, retailer and the consumer. Or it can be a 3 level, when you go from manufacturer to wholesaler, then the jobber, sometimes it is called the semi wholesaler, or then to the retailer, then to the consumer. So, this wholesaler jobber can be a wholesaler or a semi wholesaler, then goes to the retailer, then to the consumer. Depending on the size of the organization, you may take different levels of the marketing channel. By all this, you can see how complex marketing is in the present day setup. It is not an easy cup of tea. So, you produce something, it will be sold in the market. No longer all this is true, because you are being evaluated not only by the consumer, but also by the market very intensely. When you are being evaluated in such a rigorous manner, survival becomes the key, and in order to survive and also to prosper, these channel members could be a valuable contributor. Now, when you come to flows with respect to channel, you have these types of flows. You have the physical flow, you have the title flow, you have the payment flow, you have the information flow, and then you have the promotion flow. Promotion standing for advertising, personal selling, sales promotion and publicity. You can look at all this in a different context also. Why should we have a middleman? If you look at large organizations, a middleman is required or required for the following reasons. One is large resources, financial resources are required for direct marketing. So, this was the case of General Motors itself. So, it was toying with the idea of removing the middleman, but they found it very difficult to do that. So, even such a big company like General Motors makes use of this middleman. They say yes, they are required for effective marketing. Direct marketing requires producers to become middlemen for complementary products or other producers. For example, let us say you are a gum producer. A gum producer, he may have to become the direct marketer for a company which is producing, which is making, let us say, erasers or pencils. So, along with the gums, you are becoming the direct marketer for the other producers also. Now, the other important consideration which organizations give before they say we will dispense with the middlemen is, suppose I get into this middleman's activity, what is the return on investment? Suppose I concentrate on the other aspects of the organization business, then what is the return on investment which I am going to get? Organizations have found that return on investment may be higher in other aspects of business. The fourth reason which organizations give is, all said and done, these middlemen are superior in execution compared to themselves. So, there is a superior efficiency of middlemen which is coming into play, which organizations would like to take advantage of. A traditional marketing system, if you look at it, it can be a vertical marketing system where you have the producers, wholesaler, retailers as a unified system. It can be looked upon as a corporate system, an administered system, or a contractual system. What is the difference between this corporate system? In the corporate system, most of these are regular members of the organization, even in the administered system, but in the contractual system may not be regular members of the organization. In contrast to this, you can look at a horizontal marketing system where two or more companies join together to exploit a common marketing opportunity. So, this is what you are seeing in the present day Indian market. Many companies join, even a company like Reliance tying up with so many other companies. So, when Reliance in the 80s came out with this brand name of Vimal with respect to their garments, they almost trounced all the middle and small size textile mills operating from Gujarat. They almost went out of business, a large number of them. So, in order to survive, what did they do? They joined hands together to provide competition to Vimal. The result was a very strong competition brand to Vimal in the name of Gordon. So, the Gordon garments were as good as Vimal, but coming to the market at a lower price. So, the Gordon gave these smaller and middle size textile units, particularly in Gujarat, the visibility which they thought they had lost due to Vimal coming into the marketplace. So, Vimal, when it came into the marketplace, it said, I am going to provide you the men's garments, the women's garments, and also the children's garments, all under one roof. So, whereas many of these many of these other mills, they were catering to individual segments. Some of them were in sarees, some of them were children's garments. So, when it came under the brand umbrella of Gordon, Gordon provided different product lines also. Look at sarees and also garments for younger segments of the market, especially with respect to girls and females. So, all these types of things sustained Gordon in the marketplace, and a very strong advertising, not making use of the big names which Vimal used. So, used common folks in Gordon advertising, but the Gordon advertisement proved to be very catchy compared to the Vimal's one. So, the result is this trouncing of the small and medium size units, the textile units, it got a stop because of all these units coming together. Many times when you are having a channel, there can be conflict. There can also be competition. When does it come in? It comes when you do not have goal compatibility. So, goal compatibility can create channel conflict. When rules are not clear, so you should clearly specify the rules with respect to each channel member. If it is not clear, then you are getting into conflict with a member. Similarly, the differences in perception and the greater interdependence, if you have greater interdependence between the channel members, again there will be a problem. So, this greater interdependence should be reduced as far as possible. When you are taking a decision on a channel, you should look at some of the characteristics which are essential. One is the customer characteristic, second is the product characteristic, third is the middleman characteristics, fourth is the competitors characteristics, fifth is the company characteristics, sixth is the environmental characteristics. In other words, when you are designing a channel, you should look at all these aspects, that is customer, product, middleman, competitor, company characteristics and environmental characteristics before saying that I will go in for this particular channel. Okay. Now, the efficiency of a middleman can be brought out in a simple diagram which is given, which is produced here, where what I am giving here is 3 producers. So, how this middleman affects an economy of effort? If you see, let us say there are 3 producing units attached to each P here. So, there are 3 consuming units. What is going to happen? The number of contacts which you are going to make with these 3 will be 3 into 3, 9. Note that there are 3 producing units and 3 consuming units, and each producing unit has 3 units producing under them. They contact the consumer. So, the number of contacts which are made to the market, that is consumer representing the market, it will be P into C, that is 3 into 3. Now, into this thing you throw a middleman, you introduce a middleman. What happens? All the 3 of each P becomes 1, because all of them will contact the middleman. So, 1 P will be at 1, 1 P will be at 2, 1 P will be at 3. So, what you are trying to do is, instead of 3 producers or products making contact with this thing, you are the consumer. What you are trying to do is, all the 3 of P bracketed under 1, bracketed under 2, bracketed under 3, they are directly going to the middleman, saying that these are the products from these units which are coming in. What does the middleman do? He establishes contact with the consumer. He goes to 4, 5 and 6. Now, what is the type of contacts he is going to give? He is going to give P plus C, 3 plus 3, which is 6. So, what did you achieve by putting a middleman into this whole system? Instead of this multiplicative number of contacts, you made the system to get into additive number of contacts. So, instead of 9 it became 3 plus 3, the middleman virtually taking control of the market or the distribution side for you and saying I will approach the consumer, you do not bother, you do not individually keep on approaching. So, it gives an economy of effort and it also speaks to you on the efficacy of the middleman. Okay. We will stop here, we will continue in the next class.